Hi everyone, I'm Vuokko, I'm a design director at Monzo. Thanks for having me here today. So I'll be sharing some learnings from the past few years of building Monzo, which is a startup based in London. We're a transparent company, design-led product, and we've grown our design team a lot over the past few years. So let's get started. I'm curious, how many of you know Monzo? I know it's not available in Greece yet, but cool, very cool. Does anyone have a Monzo card? Awesome, cool. For those of you who might not know, Monzo is a bank that lives on your phone. So you can download the app, sign up in minutes, and then get your salary paid into the account. You can kind of budget, put money aside, split bills with your friends, and a lot more. And we're built on top of our own kind of modern systems from the ground up, which means we can do a lot of things that other banks can't do. We have an open API, we have a lot of cool things. I think this is a simple example, but it's something I really like every day. We have these instant transaction notifications. So when I buy something, actually it's so quick, our systems are so quick that actually my phone buzzes faster than the cash register does usually. I think it's very funny. And we do things like this too. So we have one day a month that we work on our own kind of passion projects that relate to what we're actually doing. And I think one of my favorite things to come out of that has been this gambling block feature. So that you can go into your app settings and you can like toggle on kind of a switch that will then block you from spending any money with gambling merchants. And we've helped some people really take control of their lives with this. I'm really proud of it. And if you want to switch the block back off, you'll actually have to talk with customer support and wait a few days. There's like a cooling off period and some positive friction there. So I'm going to set a bit of context really quickly, just so you know what I'm going to talk about for the rest of the talk. So Monzo was founded in almost 5 years ago now in London. We were originally called Monzo. And the spring after that, we launched a prepaid debit card program. And at the same time, we were kind of applying for this full UK banking license. But instead of just waiting for that to happen, we put out this prepaid program that let us kind of build an app and get some customers and learn about them, learn about the market, and kind of build the bank out in the open. And then a year after that, we got the banking license. And then that let us actually start building the actual real current accounts, bank accounts for people. And then this is where we are today. I looked at a deck from exactly a year ago. I had done another talk, and at that point we were 400 employees and 1 million customers. So we kind of more than tripled both employee count and customer numbers in 1 year. And I think currently we're growing by about 60,000 new customers every week, which makes us the fastest growing UK bank in history. Again, this is our growth. So it took us 3 years to get to 1 million customers, and then 8 months to get to the 2nd million, and now just 4 months for the most latest 3 million users. I guess, yeah. And yeah, what I think I understood from the intro, this is our mission statement. We want to make money work for everyone, because I'm sure you all agree, as people who get maybe a salary paid in, you might have a pension, might have savings, all of these things, all of these systems that are kind of locked into this legacy banking financial system, they just feel broken in the context of modern technology, and we want to fix that. We want to fix money everywhere, so it's a huge problem, and we have a lot to do. So that was a brief intro to us as a company, so hopefully the rest of this will make more sense. And next, I'd love to talk a little bit about how we as designers solve problems and work on the product. So we have this really relentless focus on genuine customer needs. So let's call it the left circle up there. Would it be a design presentation without a Venn diagram, I guess? But in addition to that, we're currently a venture-backed company, but obviously we want to build a sustainable business for the long run, because there's no point in fixing money if we're just then going to go away. So we also want to work on things that will help us become a sustainable business. This is the other circle, and then in the overlapping area of the Venn diagram is all the stuff that we work on. And we find those things, obviously, through research, but also just some good old-fashioned design exploration. And when I talk about research, I don't mean just usability testing and kind of validating ideas that we've already had, but also kind of this explorative research, like uncovering insights and discovering user needs that we weren't even aware of. And obviously this kind of research makes the most sense very early on in the project to help us kind of guide us in a meaningful direction. Internally we use a tool called Notion, maybe some of you do too. And we built this amazing user research database. It's basically a table and you can filter and sort it, and so if you just joined the company or you've started working on a new project and you want to find out all the research that's been done about a particular thing, so you can go on there and read all the things. And one of the tags that we group things by is research method. So this was like a quick look at all the different methods we've used. It's a big mix. I mean, obviously, sometimes we'll do really like in-depth interviews that take months to complete, and we'll go to people's homes and talk about their financial needs. But sometimes we'll just jump into our apps in-app chat and like talk to people about why they're using a particular feature, how, or why they're not using it. And obviously we also do usability testing. We have this format that we use in usability labs. So obviously the researcher will sit with the user and we'll have a camera on the user and the phone that they're looking at. And then the rest of us will be in an observation room. And we can see obviously the person and then what they're doing on the phone. We have a big list of assumptions on the wall, and we'll tick those off as we validate them or don't, and make other notes and observations. And then this is my favorite part, design exploration. So obviously we all work in collaborative teams with like cross-discipline, and ideas come from everyone and everywhere, and it's kind of hard to even know where one particular idea originated from. But I think design is super powerful because we're people who can actually turn like an idea into tangible artifacts and show what the future looks like. So kind of a designer can take everyone's idea and actually show how it fits and feels like together, and that can be huge for kind of getting everyone on board and working towards the same vision. And we, like Hannu talked about Agile earlier, obviously we all work in Agile product teams, and we're always thinking about what we need to ship this week and next week, and it's sometimes really hard to find time for this kind of like bigger thinking, but we really encourage it because it's really important to kind of take those bigger and wilder ideas and turn them into tangible artifacts that we can actually then get behind. So that's why we've invested in this kind of design studio area. I didn't find a great picture of it, but you can see all kinds of things going on. I think there's a visual design critique, someone just typing on their laptop, and a researcher doing something. But basically we have whiteboard walls, we have lots of room to collaborate. We have this plotter where you can print giant sheets of paper and just print out entire user flows, and we can put them up on walls and critique them together. And sometimes just use a computer, boring. But basically all our designers are embedded in different teams in the company, but we really believe that it's important to still like have this space and the rituals and time sometimes for designers to come together and kind of like zoom out and really think kind of beyond what we're building right now. And finally, scouting. So I'll explain what this is. So it's something we're doing a lot now as a company. So before we have a full stack or a multidisciplinary team working on a problem, we'll kind of do some scouting and see if there's enough there to go after. So one or two people will spend a few weeks or months kind of exploring the problem space and user needs, and then they'll come back with a proposal to either go after the idea or not. And these scouts can be business people, they can be engineers, designers, but it doesn't really matter who they are, but this kind of process lets us kind of quickly explore new ideas before like investing too much in them up front. So I've done one of these projects this year, and that was for our app redesign project, which we finally launched, whatever that means, this summer. Basically our app had outgrown its original structure. So like I said, we started as a simple prepaid debit card that didn't actually have a lot of features. The features we had were really great, but there wasn't that much there. And whereas today we have a dozen product squads working on different features and shipping things every week. and there's just a lot of different features. And turns out it was just too much. The app was becoming kind of like this Christmas tree where we were just hanging things wherever we could find some space for it. And basically, there were two huge problems. One was, obviously, our customers couldn't find the important things they were looking for in the app because it had become a mess. And the second one was our product teams were shipping awesome, cool new features, but people weren't discovering them. So we needed to kind of do this redesign and create a new, bigger structure with room to grow. And over the previous months, we had, with some other people, done sessions with different teams inside the company and looked at our user problems and kind of outlined what the problems are, and we had started sketching solutions. And then I started making this a reality by writing a proposal and basically outlining all the problems and my solutions for them, and just going through the entire app, like here's where we are and here's where we should be. And obviously included pixels in all of these to make sure everyone understood the scope and the direction of all the changes that I was proposing. So here's a cryptic timeline of the project. I wrote a proposal and I shared it internally. I got, for feedback and comments, got a ton. And in the end it got like huge buy-in, and we decided we'd go for it, and we built a team around the redesign project. And so I looked at existing customer problems and company problems, and basically just used universal design principles to solve for them. And I even talked with our CEO and made sure I'm aware of like a full list of metrics that we absolutely can't break while redesigning the app. So I felt pretty confident about this, but obviously the project still had risks, like any project, and this was a big one. So what we did early on, before even starting really with the new team, is we held this kind of future perspective, which I don't know if you've done retrospectives with your squads, but we basically did that, but we imagined what are all the things that could go wrong while we work on this project. And basically we came up with a lot of things, and the idea was that by kind of anticipating the disasters and that way we could kind of avoid them as we go, and we did like no disasters so far. So we built a quick prototype once we got going, and we first got a feel for if it makes sense to us, if we liked the direction, just like quick and dirty, and things were fine. So then we did some rounds of usability testing, and we kept building new things. And as soon as we possibly could, we put it into what we call Monzo Labs, which is, again, a setting in our app where you can toggle on beta versions of new features that aren't like actually released yet, and you can give them a go. So that way we could get feedback and input from like really like opted in and engaged users who wanted to be involved and try out this new version that wasn't super polished yet. And then finally we started rolling out to kind of unexpected users, and then like in different cohorts, and then new users who were signing up for Monzo in the app sign up, and then eventually to everyone. And we all know that people love to complain about redesigns, but this one's actually pretty well received. So that's great. So, but one of the things that worked was throughout the redesign project, we kept our community of users really engaged. So we let them know what we're working on. We let them install early builds to try it out and give us feedback, and we posted regular updates on where we're at. So this screenshot is from our community forum, where people who are like really engaged give us, discuss their opinions and ideas. And so, like I said earlier, we're a transparent company, and we try to hold on to that, like through the good times and the bad. And it's actually when things don't go as you planned, is when transparency really matters, and it's actually more valuable and useful. So I was trying to think of an example of this in action. And this example is actually 2 years old, but I think it's a good one. So when we first launched the current account app, we had everyone on the prepaid app, and we had to migrate people over to current accounts, which is basically the same app, but people had to opt in. And we did get 96% of our prepaid users into the current accounts. However, everyone continued using the app as they had the prepaid app as a top-up card for kind of fun spending. And they didn't flock to using us as their main bank account or the account that they get their salary paid into. Like, we assumed that would just happen because our app is better, but it didn't happen automatically. So with the help of our user researchers, we gathered a ton of feedback from our community forum, from social media, from reaching out directly to customers, through customer operations, what they've learned from talking with people in our chat. And then we compiled this kind of big list of ideas and kind of edited it down to what we called the big list. So it was like the top 10 reasons that are preventing people from going full Monzo or like using us as their main bank account. So we published this list, and we like publicly committed to kind of build all of these in the following months. And we did, and it was super difficult, but I think the kind of the public commitment is the thing that mattered, because we had promised, and then we just knew what to focus on, and it was very clear, and we smashed it. So again, this is our community forum. As designers, we'll post some early designs and sneak peeks, and we read our users' feedback and opinions. And of course, the community is just like one group of people, because our mission is to make money work for everyone, but everyone on the community is a person who's like willingly signed up to discuss fintech online. That's really not everyone in the world, so we have to reach out in other ways as well. So we have things like this Making Monzo Twitter account. We'll post early work in progress, other forms of social media as well. And we host regular events at our office, open office events, to discuss our product and things we're considering and things we're working on. And I think we can hold about 500 people in the office right now. But also, we want the events to be available to everyone across the UK, not just London-based people. So we stream them online. And I was looking at some stats. So the last time I spoke at one of those open office events was in May. And I think, so we had the 500 people in person, and 1,500 people watched it live on YouTube. And the last time I checked, it had like 2,500 views since. So it definitely makes sense to stream things and reach like beyond the group of people who will actually just come to your office. So I realized I've been talking a lot about our product, and I wanted to kind of spend this second half to talk about our design team and how we've kind of grown it as our product and our company have gone through this kind of hyper-growth phase in the past year or two. So this was our design team a year ago. We had a cute design dog, Norman, who's no longer with us. But this is us earlier this year. So we have visual designers, product designers, and user researchers. And like I said, everyone is embedded in an independent product squad. So this is not going to be that big of a newsflash, but we follow the Spotify model. So each team has a product manager, product designer, iOS, Android, engineer, backend engineers, data, whatever you need to make decisions and move fast. So to put it another way, when I joined Monzo, there were 4 of us in design and 90 people in the company. That was 2.5 years ago. And then this time last year, we were 12 in design and 400 in the company. And right now, we are 1,400 people in the company and 31 designers, or people in design disciplines. So I wanted to talk about kind of how we've maintained and evolved our culture and design principles and values as we've grown. And we'll start really simple. So every morning, we no longer sit together in the same bank design area, because we're embedded in different parts of the company. But we have this design channel on Slack, and every morning we say hi, we say if we're working from home or feeling sick, anything. And we say bye when we leave in the evening. And it sounds silly, but we're humans, and it actually does matter that you regularly say hi to people and know how they're doing. It brings us closer together, and it makes it easier to reach out to someone in a totally different team if you actually would like to talk about work or need help with anything else. And it's just kind of like a secondary support group, and it's like a second team inside the company to rely on. And we obviously also have more formal design rituals. Again, didn't have a great photo, but wanted to get our people in there. So every week we have design critique, like probably a lot of design teams do. And now that we've grown enough that we've had to have a few different versions of it, but right now we everyone gets together and then we split into different groups, kind of try to get people who are working on different areas of the product together to get fresh eyes on the problem. It's important. We have a design critique Slack channel which obviously only works for small things that you can describe in a Slack post. But I think the coolest thing that's kind of happened organically as we've grown is we now get together in groups of 2 or 3 and just from different parts and work on a design problem together, a whiteboard, a jam, or do a little critique. And I've never worked in such a collaborative team where we're all kind of chipping in. It's really nice. So when we pair people, try to get more junior and more senior people working together because we really believe in this kind of culture of learning from each other. So I think I'll personally do probably 5 whiteboarding, design jam, critique sessions every week with different designers, and it's been really useful. And I've learned from everyone. The learning goes both ways. It's great. And we'll have a design book club. We have video nights where we watch design talks and learn from the best. And we just started doing. I think when we hit 30 people, we realized we can no longer catch up in any other way. So we started doing these design all hands once a month, and we're sharing inspiration and ideal new ways of working, and just kind of get to know each other better. And this is my favorite design ritual. It's our newest one. We call it Design Visual Stand-Up. And every Monday morning we get together for 30 minutes. And everyone prepares one slide with everything they worked on the previous week and everything they're going to work on this week, kind of explaining why they're working on it, what it is. And you get that one slide and you get 45 seconds to talk through it all. Otherwise we'd be there for hours. So it's kind of an intense and funny thing. And it's definitely entertaining, but it's also really useful for actually getting a view of what's happening across the company. So as our team's grown, we've had to document things a lot more. So we now have a design kit, design libraries, typography guidelines, writing guidelines, you name it. We even have guidelines for how to onboard a new designer into your team and be a design buddy. But the problem with documentation is that nobody reads it. So for instance, we had a list of our design principles written down in text format, and we realized that new people just weren't reading it. Just didn't happen. So it was up to us as leaders to make them more digestible. So a few things we did with the principles were we illustrated them, and we made a kind of a deck of cards that we printed, and so everyone could have a set on their desk. We made a Chrome plugin. So every time you open a new tab, you see one of the design principles on there. Just kind of small things like that. So yeah, but I was really against written guidelines and documentation earlier on, but I've grown to see that you do need it in a growing team because kind of whatever's not written down, you tend to kind of drift, and the story changes when it moves from one person to another. So you need the anchor, kind of the source of truth. And yeah, we need a lot of new ways of working. Not a lot of new, we need to rely on patterns, basically, to stay in control as we scale. And when I say patterns, I don't just mean design patterns, but kind of a bigger thing. So, yeah, I don't know, we've grown to realize we need to spot and create patterns that apply across the whole product. With 12, 13, 14, I don't know how many teams there are working simultaneously, but we need to kind of share learning so we don't reinvent the same thing in different teams. So different people might be working on, I don't know, an amount picker or a way to present debt, and we can't have 5 ways of doing that in the same app. And obviously, collaborating helps engineering time too. And I was thinking of an example of what a good pattern has been. I think a good one would be pots. So we have this feature where that was originally just for putting money aside. So you had your debit card that you can spend on, but you could put money aside into this kind of separate bucket, and that's all it did. You could put it up to the side, out of sight, out of mind. But currently, we've added things like you can put money in it and donate it directly to charity. You can earn interest. You can collect money from friends. You can round up your spare change into one. So there's a lot of new uses for that thing, but we originally created such a simple kind of universal container that it still works, no matter kind of what we throw at it. And yeah, with scale also, it's become important to build things that other teams can build on top of. So we started building a lot more of these. So we have a design platform team that just focuses on design tooling. We have a lending platform, notification platforms, you name it. And also we have a product platform team that only focuses on kind of building tools and spaces for other teams to build on top of. And finally, yeah, everything we build is part of the system. They're interconnected and we need to make them fit and work together. I think engineers are naturally good at this, but I think it's good for all of us in different roles to kind of think about how all the new pieces we're building kind of fit. And like ideally we could like preemptively solve a lot of problems by thinking about the larger context all along. And then maybe you can even like score like combo bonuses down the line if you've like really done it well. So yeah, I'm happy that our like design team still has that vantage point across the whole company. I think it's the connections we made at Design Critiques and just working collaboratively, and it helps us kind of build this one coherent product where all the pieces like fit together but also enhance each other. And it hasn't come automatically, so we worked a lot on our design discipline, which isn't really a team, but it's something we value. So we kept defining, every few months we define design discipline goals for ourselves. And we wouldn't need to do it, but it's really paid off. So we focus on what we want design to be in 3 months' time. And I checked, and our current set of design discipline goals are like every Monzo touch point with customers feels polished and cohesive, and designers and people in their squads can run lightweight user testing independently and do it well, and so on. And so the goal I'm personally focused on right now is scaling our design team kind of across countries, across time zones. So I lead design on our UK app, the consumer app, but also our new business banking app, and also our US app, which is currently in beta. We have a small amount of beta users. So we have one designer based in our small LA office, and I really want to like share our values and learnings with him and make him feel part of the team. So every day around 4 p.m. London time, the LA-based designer will pop up in Slack, and we have like these few short hours to collaborate, and then those of us in London go home. The best kind of description of what it feels like to be the only person in a different time zone that I've heard is like when you come on Slack, it feels like cold coffee. Like you can see that it was great, it was delicious, and a lot of things happened, but it's cold now and there's nothing to do. So I don't know, I want to learn to do this better. It's kind of new for us. If you haven't experienced this, I'd love to talk after and share tips. So yeah, I feel like the biggest takeaway for me in like scaling design teams and the product has been that everything breaks all the time, and it's normal. So like everything works and you grow a little bit and things break, and the things you did before no longer work, so you have to think of new ways, and then that's fine, and then you grow a bit more, it breaks, and then you do it over and over again. So I think the process of building a design team and culture will kind of never be finished. That's it. That's